Hello, everybody. Dr. Tochi here. I want y'all to be proud of me. See, I'm early today. I'm early. I'm early today. I'm just posting the weekly invocation. Okay. So we have the weekly invocation going on. Yep, weekly invocation is on all the platforms. And so let's get our TikTok folks on. And I'll put that there. Okay, there we go. All right. So today we're going to talk about new moon rituals. Okay. So this weekend and next weekend we're going to be talking about moon rituals. And for today's class, we're going to be talking about the new moon rituals. So be sure to have your notebook and your pen, your drink and your snack. It's going to go pretty quickly because the weather is warm and inviting, and I want to go play outside. So you don't blame me. Okay. I'm a kid just like everybody else. So I want to go play outside. So the class today is going to be fast. Okay. And then I'll go outside and play. Okay. Go play with my friends. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Tochi, aka Papa Dr. Tochi. Hello, one mystical cat. And my website is at tochi.us, where you can book me for your divinations, consultations, dream interpretation, spiritual practice coaching. Get your products, authentic products, courses, books, and more. Hello, Auntie Mazuba. Okay. So, hello, Nola, Ms. Nola. Remember to give us a thumbs up and a like. That lets the algorithm know that class has started. Okay, that lets the algorithm know that class has started. So please take a moment to like and share, and then we'll just jump into the class right quick. Okay, excuse me. So when we talk about moon magic, moon rituals, one of the questions you might ask yourself is, what is it about the moon that allows it to influence us? Okay, why is it that the moon is important for rituals and for the work that we do? Many of you already know that the moon is like a satellite to the earth. There are people who have conspiracy theories that about the moon, about the origin of the moon and the function of the moon. I will let you go read that. That's not our focus here. We're not here to talk about conspiracy theories related to the moon. Okay. We're just here to talk about how we can use the moon for ourselves for our practical spirituality. Okay. The new moon starts when it appears there is no moon in the sky, when the sky is dark. That is the new moon. And then as the days go by, we start seeing a little sliver of white, the crescent in the sky, until it becomes the full moon. And then after the full moon, it starts decreasing. We call that waning, until it becomes a sliver and then disappears, and then that becomes the new moon. Okay, so the new moon starts from the night of darkness, Okay. And the moon waxes, in other words, it increases in size, and correspondingly, it increases in power. So, as it increases in size, it increases in power over the earth and the things on the earth. And it's waxing. But when it's decreasing, is decreasing in power and decreasing in strength over earth and what's on earth. That's called waning. So, new moon, the new moon, that period, that 14-day period between the dark sky and the full moon is the new moon period. Even that can be further subdivided into the first quarter and second quarter. Okay, so you have the first quarter, first 7 days, and then the next 7 days until the full moon, and then you have 2 quarters again before it goes dark again. The new moon is a good time to plant seeds, literally and figuratively. It's a good time to plant. If you have a garden and you want to have things grow in your garden, it's a good time to do that. Okay. Of course, you have to be mindful of the other seasons. You don't want to be trying to plant seeds in the winter, in the cold season, unless you're planting something like wheat. There are some plants that do well being planted in the winter season. Okay. The new moon period is a time for quiet manifestation. Okay, building things, getting things started. All right. Tonight I think the new moon is on the 20. I think, let me check right quick. Good question. Let me check my calendar right quick. Actually, you're right. 12 a.m., Miss Mary. Today is a new moon. Thank you for that. Okay. Let me go back to here, my other screen. Yeah, you're right. Today is a new moon. I didn't even pay attention to that. It just happened to be what's on the curriculum. So good timing. Yay. So what we're learning in class today, you can actually go ahead and start implementing. If you have seeds you want to plant in your garden, now would be a good time. Between now and the full moon would be a good time to plant those seeds. If there are other kinds of seeds, metaphorical seeds, spiritual seeds that you want to plant, now would be a good time to plant. Thank you for the corn. Thank you for the corn. Um, it will be a good time to do this. Okay, all right. If you're enjoying these classes, please take a moment to share and let other people know that we're in session. Okay. So the new moon is a time for building up things. Okay. And that's why when people do moon spells, they do it for building up. And we will see next week when we talk about the waning moon, the decreasing moon, that's for breaking down. Okay. So the new moon is a good time to do moon spells for building up relationships, for finding a new job, starting a new business, anything that requires additional energy to bring into manifestation. Now would be a good time to do a little spell for that or do a full scale ritual for that. Okay. If you want to know the difference between rituals and spells, I do have that video on my YouTube channel, rituals versus spells. Okay, so I'm not going to spend time talking about the difference right now. Video class already exists on that. Now, um, the waxing moon, new moon especially, is good for getting in touch with the intuition. Those of you who were part of the TikTok chat yesterday, remember we did a little exercise on how to tap into your intuition. Okay. Okay. We did a little exercise on tapping into your intuition. Warm up your hands. I'm showing it right now, goddess. Warm up your hands. Make sure your hands are warm. If your hands are dry, it is best if your hands are dry, and then this can work very quickly. So you warm up your hands. Distribute that warmth, through both hands. Warm up the hands. It might take a while, especially if you're in a cold area or under the air conditioning, but warm up your hands. Okay. Make sure you're in a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. You cannot do this and be multitasking, watching TV, talking to someone on the phone. It won't work very well if you're doing multiple things at the same time. So if you want to do this, you can do this very quickly. But you will have to do it in a quiet place. When your hands are truly warm, front and back, okay, you will now take these hands and place them over your belly button. Place them over your navel. And then you will wait for the sensation that you feel in your hands as you're trying to get information. And there's a certain sensation you will get in your hands if the information is correct. So, what we did yesterday is that we used it to try out choosing between two options. And I shared yesterday that we can use this technique to find out a lot of yes or no questions. Answer yes or no questions. Should I do this or should I do that? Is this true? Is it not true? And you will feel something in your hands if you're doing this correctly. And you can ask the question 1 or 2 times. Don't overdo it. So I hope y'all pick that up. That's a quick thing you can do, and it will do well during this period. There are different kinds of intuitive exercises that can be done. Okay, that is just one. You can do intuitive exercises with your third eye, the third eye chakra. I do have videos on my YouTube channel about the third eye, how to use the third eye, how to activate and use the third eye. So if you're interested in that, I do have that video. I made it a couple of years ago. Okay. So the new moon is a sacred doorway. It's like a sacred portal. Okay. When we dream about things and we start conceiving them in order to manifest them. So this period, and just like we're just reminded, today is a new moon, so you can start now to visualize what you want to come to pass. It'd be a beautiful time to do that. Okay. Now, in the past, we've had different groups, cultural groups, spiritual groups, take advantage of the power of the new moon. Okay. For instance, those who are devotees and priests and priestesses of Hecate. Okay, they during the new moon they will make offerings at crossroads. Okay, they will make offerings at crossroads. So if you happen to be living in an area where there's a lot of pagans or neo pagans, do not be surprised if you're out walking in nature and you see today, tomorrow, next couple of days, some offerings at the crossroads. Okay. And they will make these offerings to either begin something or to end something. So you too can take advantage of that. If you have some offerings to make, okay, in anticipation of something you're visualizing about, you can put out those offerings tonight, tomorrow, or the night after tomorrow. Okay. In Islam, the new moon is significant because it signifies a time that is marked with prayer. Okay. Robin the Hood, are you pagan? No, I'm not. I'm just a spiritual teacher and practitioner. So it's my job to familiarize myself with different traditions. Okay. But thank you. Good question. Now, when you go to New Zealand, there's the Maori. Okay. They also have ceremonies they do during the new moon where they plant spiritual seeds. Okay. Who does the offering go to? It goes to who you're making the offerings to. When pagans and neo pagans, druids, witches, wizards, people who practice earth religions, when they make their offerings, they're offering it to their deities. And that's why I mentioned Hecate. Okay. So it's very common with the devotees of Hecate to make an offering during this period. But it doesn't mean that you can't make an offering to whoever, whatever you want to um, do that to. Okay. Um, One ritual that you can do that won't take a lot of time is setting your intentions. Okay. So you can set up your altar or sit in your sacred space and take a brand new candle and you light this candle and start setting out your intentions. Start setting out your intentions. You can also take some crystals and put it on this paper where you're writing your intentions. And for each day between the new moon, the night when it's all dark, to when it's the full moon, you can come there and focus on this, do your visualizations, say your prayers or your invocations over those things you have written on that paper. Okay. Now, another ritual you can do during this period is a manifestation water jar. Okay. So, what you do is you get a jar, you can get a mason jar or any other jar of your choice. Okay. You leave it under the moonlight. And yes, I know I just said that the new moon, that the sky is dark. It doesn't mean that the influence of the new moon is not operational. It is still operational, even though the sky is dark. Okay. Thank you, Love Three. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Love Three has just saddled me up with goats. So now I have a goat farm for today. For those of you wondering. Alright. So you get this jar, okay? I would recommend a glass or earthen or ceramic jar, Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Mary, for the perfume. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you put water, potable water, in this jar, something you can drink. Leave it under the moonlight. Okay. But as you set this water down where it can be hit by moonlight or at least the influence of the moon, even if there's cloud in the sky, it doesn't matter. Make sure you're setting it down there with your intention. So you wrap your hands around this jar and you set your intentions into the water. Some of you who join me for our monthly invocations and zakat, you can also use that technique with this. Speak into that water and then set it out there where the moonlight can hit it and charge it. And then the next day, you drink the water. But you don't drink it all at once. You sip it throughout the day until you're done sipping that water. Okay. The new moon is a good time to do some important journaling. Okay. It's a good time to do some journaling. So you get your journal, you start reflecting. You can ask yourself, what new things do I want to start now? If you already have something in mind you want to start, how do I go about starting this thing that I want to start? Okay. And then commit yourself to the manifestation of those things you've written down. And that can be the challenging part because many of us are like, oh, I wrote it down. I don't want to deal with it tomorrow. I don't want to deal with it the next day. And then it doesn't manifest the way that we hope or expected it to manifest. There are so many new moon, waxing moon rituals out there. I invite you to do your research. There are so many on YouTube, so many on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. But the point of today's class is to give you the fundamental understanding around new moon rituals and why they work. From a physics point of view, some of you might remember this from your science classes, okay? The moon is held in orbit around the Earth by a certain amount of gravitational pull. So, just as gravity holds us to the surface of the Earth, is the same way that gravity holds the moon in its orbit around the Earth. And in physics, remember that exerts, anything that exerts a force experiences an equal and opposite force. So, just as the Earth holds the moon with its gravitational force, so too does the moon hold the earth in its gravitational force, even though gravity on the moon, I believe, is either 1/6 or 1/10 of what we experience here on earth. Both the moon and the earth have gravitational pulls, and each one is pulling each other. So, from a physical perspective, this is why we are subject to the influence of the moon. And many of us already know that when we talk about the full moon, that's when the hospitals have the most cases. There's a lot of drama in the city. Okay. Law enforcement is very active because of all the cases they're having. The tides rise. Okay. Water is influenced. And anything that has water is influenced by the moon. So that's why you see some people saying, okay, women are very influenced by the moon. But that's a stereotype because men are also influenced by the moon. That's why the city jails tend to be full around the new moon. The hospital emergency departments tend to be full around the new moon. Okay, there's a lot of drama around the new moon. Why? Because everybody contains water, everybody has water, even though they try to make it seem like a woman's issue. There are some people who have the misconception that um, the moon, when it's a full moon, all the women are having a period. That's not true. Now, women who stay together can eventually have their periods synchronized. That's true. But it doesn't mean, and I've heard this sometimes, oh, every woman has a period at the end of the month, or every woman has a period in the middle of the month. That's not true. The time of the month does not determine when the woman has her period. Okay. However, the phase of the moon may influence how the woman experiences that period. And some women may be more susceptible compared to others. People who have mental health issues are also affected by the phases of the moon. And they generally tend to gain more strength and more power at the new moon. And between the new moon and the full moon, they gain power. Thank you for the gift, too lovely. They tend to gain strength. Okay. But when it's waning or decreasing, you'll find out that their power and their strength decreases. And it's a lot more easy to control them or manage them than when the moon is increasing. Okay. But bear this in mind, if you want a situation to increase, the new moon and the first and second quarter of after the new moon are very good periods for doing this kind of work. If you want to build something up, you can schedule your rituals between the new moon and the full moon for the best results. Now, there are sometimes, due to the urgency of the situation, we may have to do a ritual after the full moon, even though we're trying to improve a situation or build a situation or secure a situation. There are other things that we do during that ritual to try to counterbalance the influence of the moon phase for that. But if at all it is possible for you and you want to start something new or start building something new, you want to increase something, do it between the new moon and the full moon. And the closer to the new moon you can do it, like today and tomorrow, the better the results will be that you'll get. Okay? So, any questions about today's class? Any questions about today's class? Welcome to Lola Fenfatal. Welcome to Ife. Welcome to Rose Sebayoni, Jaffe, Mommy Girl, Rookie Green 369. $14. It's 14 days between the new moon and the full moon. And so that's why when you're looking at the old lunar calendars, it would have 28 days. So when you want to plan out a ritual or a spell that you're doing, you need to be intentional. You need to be able to look at your calendar. And Google has this free attachment that you can activate on your Google Calendar that will tell you the moon phase. I have one on my calendar, so I can just pull up my Google Calendar and look very quickly, and it will tell me what the moon phase is. Okay. So that's why 12 a.m. Miss Mary, when she asked, is today the new moon? I could just quickly go to my calendar and say, lo and behold, um, it was new moon. Today's new moon. Okay. So there are some invocations I'm going to make later on today by the water. I'm going to be by the water tomorrow. I'm going to make some invocations. Is it a time to release what no longer serves me? No, it's a time to build up what will serve you. Hello, Evangel. Okay. Next weekend, we're going to talk about full moon rituals and what to do between the full moon and when it starts waning, when it starts decreasing onto the new moon. Okay. There are certain rituals that are done during the full moon itself. Let me look at the curriculum right quick. Okay, so next Sunday we're going to talk about full moon rituals, and then the Sunday after that we're going to talk about dark moon rituals. Okay, so we have two more classes on moon magic and moon spells and moon rituals. If you if you want to schedule a ritual or you're working with a spiritual practitioner and you want to schedule a ritual, it might be helpful for you to consider the moon phase and ask your spiritual practitioner to conduct those rituals during that period in order to maximize success. So you can do that, okay? Because there are a lot of spiritual practitioners who don't pay attention to this. They're like, okay, you've paid me your money, I'm gonna just go ahead and do this ritual. And they don't realize that they're supposed to pay attention to the moon phase because there are certain rituals that will work better when tied to moon phase. If you have to do some breaking down work, you don't want to be doing it on the new moon, and you don't want to be doing that when the moon is waxing or increasing. You really don't want to do that then. And sometimes that can influence how your ritual works out. I don't trust working with a practitioner because they do what they want. That's not necessarily true. Go find the one who does what you want. It's that simple. You're not bound at the navel to anybody. If you with a practitioner and they're doing what they want and they don't do what you want, go find somebody else. It's that simple. How can I follow you on Sundays? I put out announcements on YouTube and Facebook. Every Sunday I have a class, unless I'm on the road, but every Sunday. So Usually you'll see the announcement on my YouTube and my Facebook. Okay. Um, and I will tell you what time. Most times I will have it 1 p.m. There are sometimes I'll have it 12 or 10 a.m. CST. Okay. Yes, I work with other practitioners. No practitioner worth their salt will be working by themselves. You want to be part of a network of other practitioners. Okay. So, um, what questions do you have about today's class? About working with the new moon. I want to also add that there are some people, special people, who are born during the new moon. And people who are born during the new moon, on the day of the new moon, it's very difficult to spiritually attack them. It is very difficult to attack someone who spiritually attacks someone who was born on a new moon day. And if you want to find out the moon phase, what the moon phase was when you were born, just ask Google. You can go to Google and say, on this date, and you put in your date of birth, what in what phase was the moon? What was the moon phase? And Google will tell you. It's that simple. Okay. All right. So, before we close today's class, I invite you. I'll be doing love strengthening work to bring my family together, including my romantic partner. Perfect. You just anticipated my question, 12 a.m., Miss Mary. I was going to ask folks to share in the comments what kind of rituals or spiritual work they think they can start doing during this period. So, what kind of work do you think you can start doing during this period? So, 12 a.m., Miss Mary has shared hers. I'll be doing love. Okay. What other kind of work do you think you can do during the new moon? You can put it in the comment section and I'll let you know if it's appropriate for this period or not. And also, what kind of prayers or invocations do you think might work for you during this period? You can also share that in the comment section, and I'll let you know right now if it's appropriate or not. And thank you to all those who are liking my live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I appreciate you. Okay, starting a business. Well, let me challenge you a little bit. What kind of businesses do you think will do exceptionally well if you start them during this period, based on what we just discussed? Okay, Love 3 says, I will be cleaning my space to create fresh energy. Fantastic. I do have a video on my YouTube channel about stagnant energy, how to clear stagnant energy, um, especially in your sacred spaces. So you might want to watch that to give you some ideas. So, Goddess on TikTok says, starting a business. So, what kind of business do you think will do exceptionally well to start during the new moon? Okay. My YouTube people, wake up. I know there's a little bit of a time lag. What kind of business do you think you could start? Okay. Well, I'm posing the question to everybody, goddess, so not just you. Thank you, Queen Reg One. Thank you. So, what businesses can we start during the new moon based on everything that we've talked about? And I'm putting out this question to everybody because I want to make sure that, we get something from this class. Based on what we just talked about, we talked about gravity, we talked about water, we talked about women, we talked about men, we talked about mental health, we talked about drama, we talked about law enforcement, we talked about planting seeds. So, what businesses do you think? Okay, uh, Queen Leon says selling newborn clothes. I love that. Selling newborn clothes, the infant clothing, starting a business like that will do well. Uh, Not something dark or underhanded. Okay. But believe it or not, there are some dark or underhanded businesses that will do well being started on a day like this. And unfortunately, I can't say it on this platform. But if you look at all the elements we mentioned, you should be able to put two and two together. Selling roses, okay, all right. I like the selling newborn clothes or selling infant clothing because there's so many. It's That's just a loaded idea right there. And Miss Leon, you had better start that business. You have put it out there, so you had better start it because I'm sure there are other people now who are watching and listening who are like, "Oh yeah, I like that idea." They're going to write it down and start researching it. So I strongly suggest you jump jump on it. You need to be all over that idea. Because first of all, newborn babies, seed, figurative seed, starting new life. Yeah. So what other ideas will be what other ideas do you think business ideas do you think you can start um, on a day like this? Okay, love three. What business ideas? Today, a little girl with an emotional support animal has little clothes. I thought I should get her some. Okay, yeah, you could do that. You should get her puppy clothes today. You can do that, and you can get some for the girl too. And make sure when you give it to her, you pray over those clothing. You can pray over it. All right, folks. I'm gonna share something right quick. What is a prayer you could pray today? And quickly drop it in the comment section so that I can affirm it with you. What prayer can you say on a new moon day like this. Opening a spiritual shop. That's a good one. Maxine Martin. Opening a spiritual shop. Even starting a spiritual business. Today will be a good day for that. Okay. So please, in the comment section, very quickly, drop a prayer request that you can do for today, and I will affirm it with you. Abundance and progression, Ashe. Stability, strength, and prosperity, Ashe. Okay. Drop your prayer that you think will fly today in the comments so I can affirm it with you. Okay. Okay. Water offerings to abundantly bless the womb. Ashe to that. Pure attracting love. Ashe. And remember, I said that earlier that I'll be doing some water offerings today. It's a beautiful day to do it, and tomorrow. Be a perfect time to do that. Prosperity, Ashe. And I know that the folks on TikTok um, are a little bit on time delay. So good health for all in rehab, Ashe. Now, rehab, marriage, Ashe. Now, rehab, do you want to be doing rituals for someone in a rehab during the waning or the waxing? Do you want to do it during the waning or the waxing? Think about that, love three. Healing, Ashe. Prosperity and abundance, Ashe. Okay, so let's start. I want you to think about that. Do you want to be doing a ritual or spell for someone in rehab during the waning or waxing of the moon? Yolette, I'm rooted in love, I'm grounded in truth, I am growing with grace. Ashe. Beautiful, beautiful invocation. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing it with us. Let me highlight your invocation. I think everybody should see it, Yolette. And so, for those of you who are on YouTube and Facebook, if you look at your screen, Yolette shared with us a beautiful invocation. I am rooted in love. I'm grounded in truth. I'm growing with grace. Ashe. Onyinyechi Jacinta Peace. Ashe. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Consistently staying in my truth, led by discernment and intuitions. Man, that's a mouthful. Can you say that in plain English? Ashe. Ashe. All right. So let's end today's class, okay? So that we can go outside and play. All right. On this day, okay, we call on our Creator, our guardian spirits, our ancestors, and our spirit guides to renew those things in our lives which have died and have dried up and need to be renewed, to plant the seeds of love in our consciousness, to plant the seeds of common sense in our consciousness, to plant the seeds of strength and prosperity in our consciousness. We open ourselves to new beginnings today. We open ourselves to new life today. We open ourselves to rejuvenation today. We open ourselves to new life on every level of our consciousness today. We open ourselves to new beginnings today. We open ourselves to new love, however it expresses to ourselves today. And so it is, Ashe, Ise, Kamago, Lakoza, Lasedi, Makwande, Ayebomo, Enyenho. It is done, it's finished, it's complete. Amen. Ma'at. Somorubi. Thank you for joining me for today's class. Advanced members, remember that on May the 3rd, 9 a.m., we'll be having our monthly communion. The Google link will be posted on Patreon. And 10 a.m., we will have our member class on how to align our rituals with long-term goals, which is in line with what we're learning today. So we're going to learn how to align our long-term goals with our rituals, because our rituals don't always have to be one-offs. Okay. So I believe next Saturday is May the 3rd. All right. So for those of you who are advanced members, we will be having our monthly communion. And for everybody else, remember May 1st, we'll be having our group invocations and zakat. I believe, let me see, when did I set it? Group invocation and zakat will be at noon. And remember that all times that I'm mentioning here are CST. It's going to be noon CST. All right. Nurse Love, thank you for the first ever gift you have given on TikTok. I'm honored that you chose to give it to me. All right. Take care, everybody. Make today count. I have posted the weekly invocation, so be sure to check the platform where you're watching me right now, and also on Patreon for the weekly invocation. And make sure that you personalize it to yourself. Personalize it. If you need to book me for your divinations, your consultations, dream interpretation, spiritual practice coaching, please go to my website at tochi.us. I also have courses, books there. I also have authentic spiritual products there. If you bought a portable altar from me and you need to know or learn how to use it, send me an email. I want to put together a quick class again. I did it last year and I can do it again this year. Okay. If you bought a portable altar from me and you want to know how to use it correctly, or you don't know how to use the portable altar you bought from me, send me an email, okay? And I'll put together a class or a demonstration how to use that portable altar. All right. So, love you all. Thank you for coming to class, okay? And thank you for all the gifts on TikTok.